The first thing I heard when I stepped into that diner was my own father's voice, cracking like cheap ice. I believed her. Every single word, and I threw you away. Rain still hammered the windows behind him, but the real cold hit when his eyes finally met mine, empty, bloodshot. Nothing left of the man who once held me through my mother's funeral. 6 months of silence. 6 months of him calling me a liar, a homewrecker, a bad influence on kids who weren't even mine. Now, here he sat, shoulders caved in, hands shaking around a cold coffee cup, begging the son he erased to save what was left of his life. My stomach twisted so hard I tasted metal. I didn't sit down yet. I just stood there dripping wet, letting the rain from my jacket puddle on the floor between us like the blood we'd already spilled. Whatever came next. I swore to myself right then I wouldn't let him break me twice. The house always carried the soft scent of fresh laundry on laundry day. That crisp, clean smell drifting from the dryer like a promise things could still be okay. I'd hear Dad's old house key clicking in the lock every evening, the familiar jangle telling me he was home safe, back when Mom was still here. Dad and I had our own quiet rhythm. Even after she passed when I was 14, we leaned into each other. The driveway basketball games where we shot hoops until the streetlights came on. Sweat and silent tears mixed together. The garage weekends fixing the old truck, tools passing between us while the radio played low. Those small rituals kept the empty rooms from swallowing us whole. When Angela entered our lives at 17, she brought Liam and Olivia, both younger. At first, it felt like a fresh page. Dad started smiling again, real smiles that reached his eyes. The key still clicked the same way when he came home, and I told myself this was what he deserved. I kept things easy. Polite dinners, weekend visits even after law school and my job in the city an hour away. The house felt steady. I watched Dad laugh with the stepkids over simple meals, saw Olivia try to copy my jokes, Liam asking me about school. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. Then little cracks appeared. Angela on her phone more often, voice dropping when she thought no one was listening, the way she gently steered every conversation away from memories of Mom. I brushed it off because Dad looked content and the laundry still smelled clean. The key still clicked. I had no idea those tiny shifts were the first threads of something much darker, the framing. The lies, the 6 months of silence that would come. But in those early days, standing in the hallway with that clean cotton scent around me, I truly believed our family had found its balance again. The first crack I really felt was Angela's voice dropping low on the phone one evening. Too sweet, too careful. She would hang up the second anyone walked near. I told myself it was nothing. Then came the night Liam accidentally flipped her iPad while he was supposed to be doing homework. The screen lit up green on his face, and I saw his eyes widen. He didn't say a word to her. Instead, he texted me the next day, "You need to see this." When I opened the screenshots he sent, my stomach turned cold. There were old messages between Angela and me, completely innocent ones about picking up groceries or asking if Dad was home, but she had cropped and edited them so they looked like coded alibis. Next to them were her real texts bragging to her gym trainer, "Jay almost caught us today. Had to throw him under the bus with his dad." He bought it. The metallic taste of panic filled my mouth. She had been framing me for months, planting the idea that I was helping her cheat so she could keep playing both sides. I called Dad that same night, voice shaking as I tried to explain. He listened for 30 seconds, then cut me off with a sentence that still echoes. "She told me everything already. You've been covering for her." I can't believe my own son would do this. His voice cracked on the last word, but he didn't let me speak. 2 days later, the email arrived. "For the sake of our marriage and the kids, we need to remove negative influences. That includes you right now. I need space. Maybe one day we can rebuild. But not today." I read it 3 times in my car, rain tapping on the roof again. But this time the sound felt like nails. He had believed every lie. He chose her version over mine without even looking at the real screenshots I forwarded. That was the moment the 6 painful months of silence began. No calls, no texts. Letters I wrote came back unopened. The man who once carried me through the worst day of my life had erased me like I was the threat. Every morning after that, I woke up tasting the same metal in my mouth, the exact same flavor of betrayal that would stay with me until the day he finally begged me to come back. 6 months of silence taught me how to run alone at 5 a.m. Shoes hitting the pavement like I was trying to outrun the email that erased me. Every morning, I locked my bedroom door, even though I lived alone. A small habit that reminded me nobody was coming back. The man who once carried me through Mom's funeral now treated me like poison. I kept replaying his words, negative influence. Can't trust you around the kids until they sat in my chest like stones. Therapy helped a little, but mostly I just worked longer hours and let Lauren hold me while I stared at the ceiling, wondering if I really was the bad guy he thought I was. The lowest point came on a random Tuesday when I realized I had stopped checking my phone for his name. That numbness scared me more than the anger. I finally understood I couldn't keep waiting for him to wake up. So that night I did the first real thing. I opened every screenshot Liam had sent me and forwarded the entire folder to Lauren with one line, "If anything happens to me." These prove I never helped her. Then I spread the printed copies across my living room floor like a puzzle I refused to lose. My palms were slick with sweat every time I picked up the phone to add another note: dates, times, exact wording Angela used. I didn't call any hotline or lawyer yet. I just built my own quiet armor, one page at a time. I also started keeping a small voice memo on my phone, recording my own thoughts out loud so no one could twist them later. When Olivia texted me secretly saying both kids knew I was innocent, I answered her for the first time in months, not to vent, but to tell her I was still here if she ever needed someone safe. Those tiny steps sending proof to the only person who believed me, arranging papers on the floor, answering a scared teenager were my way of saying I wouldn't disappear the way he made me disappear. The betrayal still burned. But for the first time, I felt something sharper than pain, the decision to stop bleeding and start preparing, because I already knew the day would come when he would need me, and I wanted to be ready not as the son he threw away, but as the man who learned how to stand without him. He looked 20 years older when he finally slid the small notebook across the table. "These are letters I wrote to you every week for 6 months. I never sent them." His voice was raw, like gravel under tires. I didn't touch it yet. I just stared at the worn cover and asked the only question that mattered. "Then why did you believe her over me?" Dad's hands trembled as he told the rest. Angela hadn't stopped at one affair. She had been with his best friend Tony, with his own brother Mark, and at least 2 others. Liam had found everything on the iPad messages, photos, even texts where Angela bragged about throwing me under the bus. "She said you were jealous, that you wanted to ruin us." I was terrified of losing the kids, so I chose her story. His shoulders shook. "She drained nearly $300,000 from our accounts, set up transfers I never saw. The house has a second mortgage I didn't know about. My credit is ruined." I let him finish. Then I took out my phone, pressed play for exactly 8 seconds of the garage recording where Angela begged me not to tell him. His face went white when he heard her voice. I stopped it immediately. "That's the proof I sent you 3 times. You deleted every email," before he could answer. Liam walked in from the side door, eyes red but steady. He placed a thick folder on the table. Mom took everything: important passports, birth certificates, even the safe stuff. "She texted Dad last night, give her the house or she'll destroy what's left of his name." I opened the folder to push the papers back into order, and my fingers brushed the corner of a life insurance policy. $2 million, taken out on Dad just 3 months ago, with Angela as the only beneficiary. The short contestability clause and accidental death coverage from day one stared back at me. I held it up. "You know what this looks like." "Right." Dad's eyes filled. "I'm begging you." "Son, help me find a fraud lawyer. Help me protect the kids. I lost you once. I can't lose everything. I closed the notebook gently and slid it back to him. I'll review every document with you. I'll connect you with the colleague who handles financial crimes. But listen to me clearly. I am not your son right now. I am a lawyer doing a favor for someone who once meant everything to me. When you needed to choose, you chose her. When I needed you, you erased me. So I will help you stand up again. But I won't go back to being the kid who waited for your trust. That boy is gone. The diner was completely quiet except for the faint drip of rain outside that had finally stopped. Liam looked between us, then nodded once like he understood the line I had just drawn. Dad whispered, I know, I deserve this. For the first time in 6 months, I felt the weight lift, not because he was sorry, but because I had finally said the truth out loud without breaking. The smell of Olivia's clean laundry hit me the moment she stepped into my apartment 2 days later. That same crisp cotton scent I remembered from the old house, now mixed with the nervous sweat of a 16-year-old who had just watched her world crack open. She hugged me hard without saying anything, then sat on the couch while Liam scrolled through his phone beside her. Dad had moved into a small hotel downtown after the police finally took the extortion text seriously. It took them 4 full days of statements and evidence review before they issued the warrant. Angela was arrested at a motel on the edge of the city for destruction of property, theft of documents, and extortion. She's being held pending a hearing, but the divorce papers are already filed and will drag on for months. No one is going to prison tomorrow. The money, nearly $300,000 gone, will be fought over in civil court for a long time. Dad's credit is still wrecked, and the house is frozen while lawyers sort the second mortgage. I sat across from him at my kitchen table that night with all the folders spread out. I'll review every document with you, I said. I'll introduce you to my colleague who specializes in financial crimes. I'll even go with you to the first meeting. But this is where my help ends. I'm not moving back in. I'm not calling you Dad on holidays. I'm doing this because I refuse to become the kind of person who kicks someone when they're already on the ground. You chose her when I needed you. I'm choosing boundaries now. Olivia looked up, eyes shining. Thank you for letting us stay this weekend. Mom slapped me when I confronted her. Liam recorded it. That's going in the custody case. Liam nodded quietly. For the first time, the 3 of us felt like a small, new unit, not the old family, but something safer. Dad wiped his face and whispered he understood. He didn't argue, didn't beg for more. He just accepted the line I had drawn. The consequences are real and slow. Angela faces multiple charges but will likely bond out and fight every step. Dad lost most of his retirement savings and will be paying lawyers for years. I didn't get rich or get revenge. I got clarity and 2 scared kids who now have a safe place on weekends. That clean laundry smell lingered in my living room long after they went to bed, reminding me that even broken things can be washed and folded into something new, just not the way it was before. The rain had finally stopped, and all I could hear was the steady beat of my own heart in the quiet apartment. I still don't know if I'll ever call him Dad the same way again. Some nights I open that notebook of unsent letters he gave me and read 1 page before putting it away. The words hurt, but they also prove he was human and broken long before Angela. I'm helping with the papers because I refuse to let betrayal turn me into someone cold like her. Boundaries are what I kept. Conditional help is what I gave. And 2 kids who now sleep safely on my couch every other weekend, that's the small new family we're building. 1 careful step at a time. The road is long. The money won't come back quickly. The court dates are months away, and trust takes years to regrow. But I sleep better knowing I spoke my truth without becoming the monster who broke me. If you've ever had to draw a hard line with someone you still love, tell me in the comments. What's the 1 boundary you wish you had set sooner? I read every single one. Drop it below and let's talk about protecting our peace without losing our hearts.